Hello everyone, welcome to our course, Basic Skills in Constructive Communication. This course consists of 6 parts. First part is, what is constructive communication? But before we start discussing this in detail, let's get an idea about the 6 dimensions of human beings. First, there's our body, the physical presence of ourselves, our soul, our personality, our spirit, our thoughts, and even our actions. Then dimension number 2 is our heart, it means our emotions. Why emotions are so important? The reason is, in the first place, we are emotional beings and not rational beings. Emotions are always faster than thoughts. That's why we take our feelings as dimension number 2 and only after that we come up with dimension number 3, our mind, our thoughts, our ratio, and our consciousness. This is what we apply when we resolve and reconsider our actions, or our reactions when we create plans, or even when we try to coordinate and classify our emotions. We also apply our minds and our thoughts to get ourselves back into emotional balance and get work done. We may use our minds in order to think of how to do things. Next, let's look at dimension number 4, which is our guts. We say it is a gut feeling, it's called our instinct, our so-called inner voice. By the way, if in case a contradiction between what your mind suggests you do and what your gut, your inner voice, suggests you to do, come up, I propose you think again. It's always better to listen to your inner voice than to your mind and thoughts. Because your true potential is always hidden in that inner voice. Okay, then let's get back to our point. What is dimension number 5? It's the values and character that we consciously use to define ourselves that help us to adjust ourselves into the world, to make right decisions in each and every situation, that help us to decide what is wrong and what is right on our own. It helps us to understand what's the right action to take and what's not. What's the right decision to make? What's the correct pathway to go? And so many things like this. This brings us to our final dimension, dimension number 6. Well, it is actually about communication. We humans live in a social world where it is surrounded by people, family members, friends, colleagues, people in common and public places. So we are constantly surrounded by other people, therefore communication is very important. One more point, communication constantly happens. That has become a subject that we usually do not pay much attention into because we do it every day, all the time, and it has become more like an everyday habit. So most likely we would regard ourselves as specialists in communication, but that is quite not the case. Most of the people lack communication skills, and they are not even aware of it. So that's why people are not paying that much attention on communication in general. Here we have 2 different definitions for communication. The first one is an old one, it's the transfer of information from one subject to the other. Just information, no feelings, no relationship. If we look at the second definition, which I prefer, communication is a process in which people try to create common understanding based on which they can formulate common goals. They can consciously join their efforts in order to achieve those goals. They can consciously agree on what actions to take, what way to go, in order to make the world, for example, a better place. So this is what mainly communication is all about. But, when we look around, we may find that in most of the situations, communication does not create this mutual understanding, does not help us to describe common goals and aims, and does not really help us to join and coordinate our actions in order to accomplish a common goal. That's why in our next video, we will cover 3 different aspects of communication. But for now, thank you very much for your attention. See you again later.